Hey, what's up everybody? Today I want to talk about fixing or resoldering the float sensor for your coolant reservoir right here. In a previous video I fixed the leak which was coming from here, so that worked, but whilst disconnecting this I actually tore off the cables, and trying to work with this now I actually tore the other one off as well. So let's try and fix this little connector here. I was trying to figure out how this connector works, and you can see these little steel connectors which were stuck in here, and they make the connection down there. So I tore one of it out because the cable is actually fixed into place there. The other one is torn as well. So what I'm going to try and do is maybe solder in an extension piece of cable there, plug it in on the top so it stays in place, extend it and twist them together at the other end, and then put some electrical tape around it. That should fix the connector, and then we don't have to go out and buy a new one. Also, it will give me the opportunity to extend the cable slightly. So let's do that. So we've got the sensor right here. I've pulled out the other connector, which kind of looks a little bit like this, but you can see that it has pulled out the connection surround, so we should be able to push that back in, but that is no matter for the soldering. It should work regardless, as it's just an electrical connection. I've also prepared the soldering iron. I'll plug that in a second. I've got some solder right here, and I found a bit of old audio cable. Now we need to strip that off, of course, at two ends, so I've gone ahead and done that, and here I'll just strip that piece off as well. There we have it, lovely. Give that a quick twist so it doesn't fray on us, and there we go, and then we have these two ends ready to be soldered. So what I'll do, either we can do it like this, that we solder this together like so and then push that connector back in, or we can directly push it into here like so and fill it with solder and then secure that in place, and that should also transmit enough electrical signal. Before I start, I'll strip the other end bit here, as we'll need that to attach to the car. So actually what we've done, I've extended the stripped wire a little bit so I can wrap it around here like so, so it's actually in place, and we're going to solder over that to ensure the connection and just make sure it stays on here nice and tight. And we're going to do that for both of the connection pieces. So here is the other plug right there, and then I'll take my bit of wire here and wrap this around. There we are. And then we put this in place, ready for soldering. Oh, this has come loose again. There. And both are staying in place now. Lovely. So the soldering iron has been heating up. I'm not sure if it's warm enough yet. So we come in here and nope, it's not yet warm enough, so I just need to wait a little bit for this to do its job. Alright, let's try this again. Is this hot enough? Coming in here. Yeah, we're building some heat. The soldering iron is pretty old, but if you have one lying around, it will do the job, most likely. So we'll just get a bit of that on here. Lovely. And then solder that in place. Be careful not to burn your fingers, because that's what I'm doing right now. And then let's solder the other one as well. And there we are. Not the most beautiful job in the world, but it is holding, and these are still actually pretty hot. The edges here are poking out a little bit, so that needs to be flattened out, otherwise it won't fit into the fitting. There we go. And these are ready to go back in. So we can drop a few parts in there and then see how we get on. But then essentially that should work. Right, so the soldering of this is complete. One of these pins just wouldn't go back in anymore because the sleeve actually shoved all the way back down into the connector. So we have the one here on the left side that went in successfully. On the one on the right side, you can see I've actually attached directly. So what we do now, we close this up and, well, I hope I didn't melt too much of the plastic. Yeah, it still kind of works. Well, it's a bit too thick actually. So what I'll do, I'll put some tape around this and we can go to the car. You can see it pops back open like that. But no matter, with a slight bit of tape, this will shut just fine. Now let's go to the car. So here we are near the car again. I've stripped off the other ends of the cables. Keep in mind that the brown connector is actually the left-hand side of the plug, so make sure it connects the right way. You'll need something to solder on, so I just got this little plastic sheet here so I can solder properly. I'll need to connect those two together and then tape it up. And here we go. Those are soldered together. Put some electrical tape around this if you have it. If you don't, duct tape will just be fine. And we can put the sensor back in. So I've secured the cables in place here with some regular tape. That's all connected. I have the coolant reservoir on full, but that's not a problem. What you can do is when you start up the car, you get somebody to push this down with a stick or whatever all the way to the bottom. That will trigger the sensor and the light should go off. And then when you release that, the light should disengage. So that's your way of testing it. And of course, don't forget to find your cap, clean up your engine bay and all that kind of stuff. So let's see what happens. And voila, it works. I got somebody to hold the light for me. Release. And the light's been released and it's off. So the fix was successful. If that was helpful to you, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and stay tuned as I'll be doing more repairs on this car in future.